Hello and welcome to another Casualty review here on the channel. Yes, I'm in bed again. I'm cold. It's the UK. Get over it. Sorry, I'm in quite a bit of a rush this week. No, I'm not in a rush. I'm going to take my time because you know what? Casualty is worth it, and I have literally just finished watching this episode. It is the Sunday because I missed it. But what an episode, and what we have to go through here. It's quite a lot. There is quite a lot to go through. But I do have something that I think you lot might be quite interested in. For those people who would like to see sneak peeks of each episode before its release, feel free to go and give Casualty or BBC Casualty a follow on X, formerly known as Twitter. If I remember, I will link it in the description. I will not remember. You're welcome for letting you know. The previously being all about Charlie was really surprising, considering next episode is Charlie. It's called Charlie. So there's that, and that's really, really surprising. The car chase was well put together. It was really, really, really well put together. Charlie blaming himself for what happened with Harry was right within his character. And then the really surprising part about that chase was, of course, Harry was chasing them. I mean, no one expected it. I didn't expect it, at least. So that was, I just thought, that storyline done, dusted, I don't care. Bringing it back was such a wise decision. I mean, we don't think about these things until they're gone. And that is what I like. Harry leaving his wife in the crash site, though, was really tough to watch. And because, of course, the way this episode ends, we don't actually know if she's been found yet. I'm presuming she hasn't. But we'll see. Well, we will see what happens there in the next one, presumably. Stevie's meeting and the way she handled it was very well put together. I mean, that meeting in itself, it was only a short little scene, and I was expecting more about it, but it was well put together. Please ignore this. I know it's a mess. I don't have time to deal with it right now. And I do have to deal with that, though. You can't see what's behind the camera, thank God. Unfortunately, you can see this. That's an unfortunate circumstance, but we'll ignore it for today. The major RTC was really tough to watch, but this is something I've started noticing a lot more within Casualty. It was so well put together and well filmed, well cinematographized. I think that's the word, right? And it was very, very, very strong. This here is clearly showing a much bigger budget going towards this older series, which is so good. The paramedics springing into action was really great to see. Of course, it was Ian and Teddy on the site immediately. Straight out. Really good. Very, very good to see. Charlie's speech about not knowing what was happening was really well put together. Something we don't really get to see very often was a little bit of vulnerability from Charlie. Obviously, knowing the end of this episode, I think it was to be expected, but I mean, something we don't see very often, so it was really nice. The CCP's arrival really does just show the seriousness of the incident, and of course them being there instead of Hems is very interesting, because it's normally Hems. Just gonna write that, but they weren't called Hems, and on the back it did say something about, it was something which abbreviated to CCP, which is what I've put on here. Something paramedics, probably. Feel free to let me know what that was in the comments if you want to, and I will pin you for that. Sorry. I'm very rude sometimes. Anyway, the man asking for his car he definitely had something to hide. And of course he did end up with something to hide, because by the time that, I've watched it all by now, he had so much to hide, and we still don't know. He's still unknown by the end of the episode. So that's really interesting. Teddy's conversation with the driver was lovely to watch, but I feel like it would be very painful on a rewatch. Of course, because because obviously we don't know what happened to him. I'm presuming he was seriously injured. Well, he was definitely seriously injured, but I'm presuming he died in the incident. I think it's pretty clear that he burnt to death, which is a shame, but yeah. John listening in to this conversation makes us really feel sorry for Teddy even more, because obviously Teddy's been kicked out and he's having a chat with this guy like, oh yeah, maybe I should just sleep in my car as well, save a bit of money. I mean, sorry, I need to crack my neck, it's really... Anyway, it was really funny to watch. The double scene was interesting to watch. So that was the one where we had Faith in one room and Stevie in another. And we just had these two conversations going on at the same time, and they were very interesting. It's a very interesting scene to watch, because it's a very different scene. If this is your first ever Casualty episode, this would have been a great way into the series. It's not something I've got written down here, but I mean, let's put it this way. Major RTC, potential death at the end of the episode, and a load of drama. What more could you want? The brother taking full-time care was an interesting storyline, and it's very common in today's world. That is why Casualty is so important. That's my notebook. I make loads of notes when I'm watching shows. So, yeah, Jodie was really great with her patient, and I think it's something that was very important to make sure was clear. Zoe is a great doctor to be having on hand. She was really great to see. Surprising arrival, previous doctor as well. She was in it when I first started watching, about, oh god, it's a good few years ago when I started watching. And I don't know why she left, because it's that long ago. I think she left before COVID. Essentially in one of my first episodes. So I don't have many memories of her, but I recognised her face the moment I saw her. Patient with post-COVID mental health was very important to see, because a lot of post-COVID problems have somewhat been ignored now. A lot of things, well, not that long ago, every time someone came into the ED, they were saying, COVID test, COVID test, COVID test. That's gone out the window. So to have another reference to COVID now is superb. Ignore this. Ignore it. It's fine. But yeah, that was very important. Zoe trying to deal with relatives was great to watch. This episode is jam-packed full of stories. It's only now that I'm reading these back that I'm realising we don't see a lot of these patients towards the end of this episode, which is why I'm presuming that in the next episode, Charlie will have, the next episode being called Charlie, we will get some more details. This is something else linked back to what I said before. The crash site going up in flames. It was well made. It was great camera angles, great explosions, the chain reaction, everything. It was superb. And more importantly, when are you going to see that again? It was well made, and it's something that was on terrestrial television with no advertisements for the public. When else are you going to see that? I mean, you know, any other broadcaster would have put out like a warning at the start. This is just what we needed. Anyway, sorry, I won't be a minute. I'm just getting up the TV guide so I can tell you when it's on next week. So I've literally just finished watching it. So we shall see how this goes. The following silent scene after the crash was again well put together. It was great to see Teddy's reaction without seeing his face. It's something in Casualty that we really need, because when we see from behind, we immediately get that feeling of dread, fear, anxiety, and it's perfect. The sorry. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry. The silent congregation of staff was again brilliant. The staff all coming in silence. You don't need to have all that noise all the time, and it's something that Casualty is just, they're brilliant at it. Superb silent headshot of Stevie. We get so much by saying nothing. And that is what the directors of Casualty are good at. They know what they're good at, so they play to their strengths. Harry's situation was tough for the staff to have to ignore as well, and that just makes everything 10 times worse. Teddy and the drug dealer's chat was really tough to watch, but especially him trying to rationalise what he'd done was extremely tough to watch. Harry and Charlie trying to chat, though, was perfect. It's something that we really need. Harry and Charlie have this pre-standing relationship, and it's really, really lovely to watch. Seeing Stevie cry, though, was so unusual, so raw, and so perfect. It's something I've picked up on today. The body cameras on the paramedics, they're new. I've not seen them before. And it's a new paramedic uniform, which makes sense considering they've been in the same dark green uniform for about 12, for a good while, probably since COVID, so it's nice to see a change. Stevie's fear is new and rather uncomfortable, but it's good for her character, and that's always something that I very, very happy to see. I like seeing new things for the characters, and that is extremely important. The fear of social services is new in this programme. It is by no means new in BBC programmes, but it's new to this, and that is good. Stevie on the staircase outside with Faith was a really tough conversation, and more importantly, it was a scene we've probably not seen now since when Ethan was in the series. That whole setup I've not seen in a good while, which is nice to see, because I'm presuming it's not just set dressing. I'm presuming that's just a building that they've been using for a good while as their hospital, and they've just been using it for years and years and years. Stevie confronting the PTSD was great for the public. In the UK, there's not a lot of the confrontation of public PTS, so whenever we get that, it's perfect. And coming from a show like Casualty, which has been going for over 40 years, that in itself is something that's really important. Charlie being threatened with a knife was really tough to watch, especially when we consider that Charlie's been in the show almost since episode 1. That in itself is something we all have to consider. when we go into the next episode. Charlie being stabbed was especially tough to watch, especially when he has been through so much and almost never been put in. It's like a strange situation because he's almost never been in like serious injury. But that just brings me to the end of the episode, where I have to say throughout this whole episode there's been some incredible cinematography and incredible filming from the whole team. And of course, what do you think will happen in the next episode, entitled Charlie, which will be up at 9:25 on BBC One, which is 5 minutes later than usual, putting the news back by 5 minutes to be at 10:15. Just in case you were concerned. Anyway, yes. So, as always, BBC Action Line can be accessed via two methods. bbc.co.uk/action line or at 0800 666 666. For those under the age of 18, feel free to call Childline at 0800 1111. And that is all for today's episode. If you would like to ask me any questions in the description, including what I think we have to look forward to in the last of a history of violence, because that is the last history of violence next week. What I think the next section will be about, who I think the next section will be about, and more importantly, what my next notebook's going to look like. Because this was just some cheap thing that I got from WH Smith's with a 20% off voucher. Anyway, that's all for today. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so I can have a chat with you. And I will see you all in the next one, where we will absolutely be crying over something. Bye-bye.